The What Would Jesus Do? WWJD movement traces its origins back to the late 19th century when a minister named Charles Sheldon wrote the novel In His Steps. What Would Jesus Do? Published in 1896, the book tells the story of a pastor who challenges his congregation to pause and consider, what would Jesus do, before making any decision. This idea resonated with Christians, but the movement didn't gain widespread popularity until nearly a century later. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, the WWJD slogan was revived by a youth leader named Janie Tinklenberg in Holland, Michigan. Tinklenberg wanted a phrase to encourage her youth group to think about Jesus' example in their daily lives. The acronym WWJD quickly spread and was printed on bracelets, t-shirts, keychains, and other merchandise. The movement became a cultural phenomenon in the 1990s, resonating especially with young Christians in the United States. Pros of the WWJD movement: promotes ethical reflection. The slogan encourages people to consider the ethical and moral implications of their actions by imagining Jesus' response in similar situations. Simplicity and accessibility. WWJD is short, memorable, and universally understandable, making it easy to adopt and share, even across different age groups. Encourages accountability. The slogan became a public declaration of faith, prompting Christians to live in ways that reflect their beliefs. Youth engagement. WWJD attracted younger generations, making faith discussions relevant and tangible in their lives, especially when faith-based merchandise allowed them to carry a reminder of their beliefs. Community and evangelism. The WWJD bracelets and gear sparked conversations about faith, allowing believers to explain their values and potentially share their faith. Cons of the WWJD movement. Over-commercialization. The widespread merchandising of WWJD turned a spiritual movement into a commercial enterprise, sometimes reducing its message to a trend or fad. Lack of depth. The slogan, while thought-provoking, can oversimplify complex theological and moral issues. Some people criticized it for not addressing the nuance required in certain ethical situations. Potential for misinterpretation. Interpreting what would Jesus do can be subjective, leading individuals to assume what Jesus would do without deeper biblical study or guidance. Fading influence over time. Like many trends, WWJD lost some of its initial impact over time as it became more of a fashion statement than a spiritual reminder. Limited scriptural foundation. Critics argue that WWJD did not encourage followers to understand Jesus' words and teachings in depth, which can lead to actions based on assumptions rather than biblical knowledge. Outcomes of the WWJD movement. The WWJD movement inspired countless individuals to think more about living a Christ-centered life, fostering a desire to act ethically and reflect Jesus' love in their decisions. Although the slogan faded in popularity after its peak, it left a lasting legacy, with many people still remembering the impact of "What would Jesus do?" as a guiding principle. The movement also paved the way for similar campaigns like Frog, Fully Rely on God, and Push, Pray Until Something Happens, and encouraged faith-based marketing. In recent years, the slogan has seen a resurgence as Christians revisit the importance of discipleship and ethics in a modern context. Though WWJD as a movement may not have endured as prominently, the concept continues to resonate as a reminder of how faith can influence daily decisions, even in a contemporary and complex world. Stay tuned. Get ready for an inspiring journey into living the Jesus way, a call to discipleship. In this upcoming series, we'll explore what it truly means to do what Jesus did in our modern-day world. Together, we'll dive into practical steps to live out his teachings, following his example with intention and purpose. Stay tuned for more details. This study will be starting soon, and you won't want to miss the chance to grow deeper in faith and discipleship.